Okay.
Absolutely not.
Cool.
Okay. Stand by.
Should I? Oh.
No, that's why I did. I'm gonna pre-roll because I can always cut this one off.
Hey, Wabana.
All right, stand by.
Wabana.
3.
Hi there, and welcome to Dr. De La Grandes presents Tell a Vision. You are, we are, but an attitude away from greatness. Your feet will never go, or your mind has never gone. Your feet will never go where your mind has never gone. So just know, your failures are not final, nor are they fatal. In fact, your, quote, failures are among your best friend. In the Garden of Eden, there is a tree called and referred to as the tree of both good and evil. One tree, it's all there, and you and I have spent too long trying to eliminate negativity. But anytime you're plugging an appliance into a wall socket, you will note that it has 2 lines hooked together, without which you would not have power flowing through it. It can flow to it, but not go through it. So let's learn how to navigate what our Father has created. And that is ways and means of creating synergy. Yes, synergy. And note that everything is energy, and energy is everything. I am your creator of this great show. I am the executive producer, and I am honored to have as very special guest a young man who's been on several times whenever he comes to America. He's multi-talented, in fact. He is an author, a writer, a producer, a director, a singer. He's been on The Voice several times. He's performed at the Ensemble Theater in the 4th largest city in America, and other theaters, including downtown, the Alley Theater downtown Houston, the other theaters that are in and around the Houston area. He's performed in New York and Los Angeles, and as I understand it, it was in New York where a producer from Germany saw this talented individual, invited him to come and be a part of a production there in Germany. I believe it was Hanover. And so it is our pleasure. He just flew in a couple of days ago from the Netherlands. I want you to meet and greet again. And if you know him, if you love the skill set that he has, like, subscribe. What else we wanted to do?
Share.
Yeah. You can hear our technical director sharing. Yeah. Dear Jennifer Jones, JJ. So do that. Like, subscribe, share on all of the media platforms that you are utilizing. Meet, greet the incredibly talented, tenacious, wonderfully tanned globe trotter himself, a man who's been performing and been in Germany, Russia, Czech Republic, Dubai, London, all over Germany again and again, performing Amsterdam, the Netherlands all over, America all over. Put your hands together for Brandon Maceo de la Grantes.
Thank you.
My firstborn son. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so honored to have you. It's my absolute pleasing pleasure to borrow to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes. You have in fact traveled the globe over and over again. Your name is renowned. You've opened so many doors for so many others. Before you traveled in the globe, you worked with several boy bands, didn't you? When you were a teenager.
I did lots of image consulting for, at the time, international pop bands that were premiering their music videos on MTV. That is true.
Yes. Got to start right here with this genius.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm ready for you in this interview.
No, I think about, first of all, let me just say thank you for the opportunity, for the invitation, for the platform, for all of the people who are watching in the Netherlands or wherever they are in the world. Dank jullie wel. Dank schön. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. And but in reference to the story you're referencing, yeah, that was something I almost forgot about. And it's funny because I think about a choreographer. Her name is Gibson, is her last name, and she got famous for the MTV reality show Making the Band. And so she said, Lorianne Gibson. She said,
yes.
you want to be a pop star? She said, I'm the pop star. So if you want to learn how to be one, I'm the one. And it's funny because I've been blessed to coach a lot of choirs and groups and artists. And sometimes I forget, I know the experience, but sometimes I forget that, I really have been blessed to do a lot of things for a lot of years. On a lot of continents and a lot of countries.
Yes.
But I do have to say, to my father's credit, coaching that boy band for MTV was not the first time I rode in a limousine.
No, it wasn't. No.
I remember getting picked up from school in a limousine and being like, having to, I think that's part of where my acting skills developed, because I was just as shocked as the rest of the kids around me, and yet I decided to play it off like, oh yeah, this is an everyday occurrence. So they were like, oh, your dad is in an limousine. And I was like, oh yeah.
And I went, you guys were, my kids were at 3 different schools on levels. Westwood Elementary and the middle school.
Spring Oaks Middle.
And then
Springwoods High School.
And I owned the limousine, yes. And people would say, but you have a limousine service? I said, no, it's my personal limousine, so that when I travel, all of my beautiful 7 abundantly blessed children can go with me, whether I'm lecturing or we're singing together. We are showing up with power and authority. Yeah, because we're blessed that way, seriously.
Yes. That's one of the lessons that I was sharing with someone in the Netherlands last week before I came. I was talking about something you've said often, setting the atmosphere.
Yes.
That instead of reacting and responding to other people and the choices, the decisions, the words, the thoughts they make, that you set the atmosphere. When you enter a space or place, that you have already decided what your intention is, and that is the most important.
Yes.
Which is interesting because it cross-references for me something we were taught in theater school at the University of Houston, that as an actor, your intention is the most important.
It is.
The rest are tactics you use to reach your intention, to accomplish your goals, but that goal is the most important, and that there is no other character in the scene that can be more important than what it is you want to accomplish. And I think that what I see in your statement is the life lesson that can be applied regardless of where you're coming from or what your background is or what your quote stage is.
Yes.
That you set the atmosphere for what it is you want to experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of that experience has to be a totality. It's going to reflect that. Of all of life experiences, I've taught my children, don't go anywhere and be absent. Wherever you're traveling, whatever you're doing in life, observe. Put it in, because you're going to need that information somewhere in your journey.
Well, you always said, even riding in the car, pay attention to your surroundings because you never know when you would have to go this way again. And as a kid, that's the last thing we're doing is paying attention to which street this is, which highway this is, and at the same time, I found it to be true time and time again that I would be in someone else's car and they'd say, "How do we get to your house?" And I'd be like, "I don't know." And so it reminds, your words came back to my remembrance that, pay attention, and that's one of the things that I've experienced living internationally.
And by the way, that's coming from a man who has lived on several continents and has been in, let's say, Europe and outside of Amsterdam and Utrecht, which is where I had my first home. In Utrecht, about half an hour out of Amsterdam. And so you can easily say, I don't know, but then with observation, you can pull that up and say, and they wonder how, even for them, where they're trying to go, or that individual, those people are trying to go, you can tell them, I think you should turn right or left or go, and you sense that spiritually, frankly, because you have the anointing of Holy Spirit.
I receive that. I receive it, and I think that one of the things that's been interesting for me, as someone who was born in Welch, Louisiana, grew up in Houston, Texas, and as you mentioned, lived in New York, lived in LA, lived in Hanover, Germany, and now currently living in Amsterdam, that those basic lessons that I learned right here, I'll probably talk about it also in the taping of Dr. De La Grandes Presents the Brandon De La Grandes Show. But those simple lessons, and let's call them the please and thank yous, have really served me well.
I agree. I've watched that. And to follow through with that, I walked into an audition. I had heard about it latent, but I went anyway. It should have been the last day. When I got there, they had cast every character. And so I sat and listened to what they were sharing and when they were going to start 2 weeks of rehearsal for the ensemble theater. And they said, "Sir, are you a producer?" Because of the way I was dressed. I thought perhaps, and I said, "No, actually I came in to be a part of the production." They said, "Have you read the script?" I said, "No." And so, "Well, we've already cast everybody." And I said, "May I take a look at the script? Just a quick." "Well, I'm telling you, we've already," and I've scanned, only looked for the scripters, and I saw this character, Cajun. Now, I don't have a Cajun background, but the moment I saw that, I happened to have a harmonica in my pocket. I pulled out the harmonica and I just ripped away. And they said, "Wow, the character does play a musical instrument. He plays a trumpet. You play trumpet." I said, "I own a trumpet, a series of saxophones." And he said, "But can you speak French?" I said, "Parlez-vous français?" He said, "I should be big." He said, "Oh, you do?" And I said, "But they said, but that's, can you do like a Cajun accent?" I said, "Comment ça va, je bébé?" And now, what I'm talking about is not an attaboy for me. My mother-in-law speaks fluent Creole. The family does. I borrowed from that experience of going over to Little Welch, Louisiana, and enjoying the music and the lingua and picking up what Mama Lillian would say, because she was rich and
Oh,
Flavor,
Potang,
yeah.
Potang.
And then this is off base, but I'm going to say it anyway. This young man settled in Europe. He brings his grandmother, both grandmothers. He pays for everything for them to come to Europe. Yes, our goddess, and the whole family comes, but he takes care of both of his grandmothers. Yes,
Wow.
an experience they never had before, and they never forgot. Always said how much they appreciated that and how much they loved. Technically, don't tell anybody I said this, but Brandon was their favorite grandson. Yeah.
What I can say is that it is a secret mission of mine to pour back into the people who have poured into me.
Yeah.
And there are different ways to do that, of course.
Está bien, muy bien.
And at the same time, like I said, to live internationally and experience that some of the lessons that I learned in Brookshire, Texas, or in Welch, Louisiana,
Yes.
or in Houston, have been the things that have really made the difference with both, let's call fellow citizens, as well as literal kings and queens.
Yeah.
And so I
King and Queen of
remember-
Holland, for example. Yeah.
Exactly. I remember performing at the World Cup in Germany in 2006, so that's some years ago. But your security badge was basically a copy of your passport. And so we were performing, David A. Tobin and Johnny Toon, we were performing on the one stage, and Shakira was performing on the other.
Wow.
And in between, you could go to all the different spaces with your security badge. And a man from Haiti came up to me and he said, "We speak the same language." Now I'm thinking, I speak English and I studied Spanish in school. And at that time I was starting to learn German, living in Germany. But he said, "No, you're born in Louisiana. We speak the same language, Creole." And I didn't realize that. And so that was one of the instances where I began to see just how connected we are.
Yes.
And I do have to say this, I know it's probably on the screen somewhere, the main topic, but I will say that as melanated people, that's been a very interesting dichotomy, I guess would be your vocabulary word. Because there are some things that are culturally different depending on the continent, depending on the country. And yet there are some things that I think the saying goes, don't need to be explained to the people they don't need to be explained to. Some things, they call it at the Conservatorium van Amsterdam, they call it nonverbal communication. I remember sitting in the train last week after attending the North Sea Jazz Festival. And before I could hear the accents of the people, I was seeing the melanin of the people across from me in the train. And someone outside of our train car started exhuming the alcoholic beverages that they had ingested during the course of that evening. And so we could hear this person exhuming these alcoholic beverages. And without saying a word, I found out, living in Amsterdam, and them, I found out later, coming from North Carolina, were both had the same expression and reaction, which was, And as soon as we did that in tandem, I said, "Where are y'all from?" Even my y'all coming out on this train.
Now, where were you traveling from, and where were you traveling to?
We were traveling from Rotterdam to Amsterdam, and had that same nonverbal communication reaction. And so I said, "Where are y'all coming from?" In hindsight, I realized I said y'all, but they said North Carolina, and I said, "I knew it."
Yes.
I knew it. And so that's an interesting dichotomy because, again, some things are different. Some things are just cultural. And yet some things speaking of culture, are just cultural. And it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing to navigate. It's an interesting thing to observe. And I think my last birthday, July 1st, which in the Netherlands is Ketikoti, I turned 49. So Ketikoti, for those who are watching internationally, is the, let's call it, Dutch version of Juneteenth. Celebrated by, I believe, 8 different territories. One of the biggest being Suriname, but also Curaçao and Aruba and Saint Martin.
Speak up just a little bit.
Different countries and territories. So on that birthday, this past birthday, now maybe just 2 weeks ago, I turned 49 years. I know it's It's not
49 never looked at
Jarvie will be very excited to hear that in London. But okay, so but one of the things that I am much more conscious of now than ever is really being my best self. So as opposed to a certain role or a certain function or a certain career focus, but I think the through line for me now, more than ever, is really my best self. And like I said, all of those different roots from where I come from, and all of those different experiences from where I've been and where I am, all connect in that same nucleus for me. And that is a beautiful thing, and it's a very present help.
Yeah, we were having dinner the first evening, Sunday evening, after you just arrived.
Yes.
From Amsterdam airport, and then we went to dinner. You came to the worship service. I was teaching at the Veterans Reserve, you call it Veterans Village. They have primarily veterans, challenged veterans among them. But we went to eat, and the manager of that particular restaurant, I do well, because, and forgive me for saying this, but to those of you who have challenges, with people telling the truth, Paul says, I don't boast, but if I do boast, I boast in the Lord. Okay, so I've been known to not only tip nicely for the one who's serving, that waiter or waitress, but I'll come through the restaurant and I'll ask for the manager, and I said, I want to bless every single person here. And so they're all shocked. And so I'm giving money to them, and I said, wait, I want the cook to get blessed, and I want everybody back on the grill. And they said, them too? And I said, everybody. And is there anybody back there that I don't see? And then people start sticking their head out. And well, this particular time, I said to the manager when he came up, I said, I want to introduce you to my son, Brandon, who's just here from Amsterdam. He said, my brother lives in Amsterdam. What happened then?
Well, it's so interesting because I'm looking at this melanated man who is talking about his brother, and I asked him where specifically does he live, and he said a city that I'd actually just been in a week before, celebrating,
no
like I said, this holiday of freedom for melanated people throughout Europe and Dutch and other territories. And he says Zwolle, of all places in the Netherlands. And so we made a video and sent it to his brother. And his brother responded.
So excited. And he told the brother in America, he said, who is this man who speaks perfect Dutch?
It was very kind. Ik doe gewoon mijn best. But this is the thing, and I know we're coming to the end of this episode, but I do have to say that it is a pleasant surprise to be able to not only talk about this topic, but specifically to be able to talk about it with you. Because I have to say that my mother has confirmed, my mother Lucy has confirmed and authenticated the fact that prenatally you were speaking different languages to me in the womb. And that you were prophesying to me in the womb the different things that I would do and experience and go and languages, and to be blessed to be on the receiving end of that, and to be able to share that with people around the world.
Yeah.
It's reminded me of something that you said to the family recently, specifically to the children. Know, and I will say it to you as well who are watching, who you are. Know who you are, not just where you come from, but whose you are,
Yes.
and from whom you come.
Yes.
Legacy, not just curses and habits and traditions, but real legacy, because it goes further than you realize, deeper than you can imagine, higher than you are potentially prepared for, and it can and will inspire and motivate where you are and where you want to go. So thank you.
I am honored to have my firstborn son, my firstborn child, here with me, loving all that we do here at Dr. De La Granta's Presents Tell a Vision. You've just heard my son share his vision and how it has manifested, resulting from prophecy before he was born, and all of my beautiful blessed 7 children have had that wonderful experience of me prophesying over them, with them, and speaking all kinds of disciplines: math, science, social studies, history. I've spoken to them prenatally, preparing them for their destiny, not when they were 4 and 5 going to kindergarten and someone teaching them, but at home, because I know you and I have to pour into our children, sharing with them who they are, whose they are, and laying out the thought that they should stay focused on, the words that they say are Right Mind Movies about, and what they do: speak, think, say, believe, but don't stop at believing, go into receivership of it. And you are the exception to the rules that you can't and don't. You know that there is no limit.
Yes.
Sky is not the limit. If it is to be, it is up to you as it is up to we.
Yes.
You are but an attitude away from greatness. Love you more. Yes.
That was awesome.
Hey, thank you.
You don't know how much it took me to not. I wanted to get in on it. I'm like, whoa. And I mean, you did really bring chills up my spine when you say how your dad was speaking over you and all of that. Me and your dad sometimes we say stuff and don't even know it. We saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll say his words and he ain't even said it. That's
true.
Tune like that.
Yeah.
We're very much in tune, and I love the energy he exudes when he go in the room and he commands the room.
It is
Yeah.
setting the atmosphere.
And I do that too.
Thank you.
Not right now. But he's over there. He's like, oh, we went somewhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, look at that.
That's exactly right.
But,
We're dressed to the
but
nines.
I love it because I just see that this is what's reuniting. It's not by chance.
No. When he told me, when he mentioned your name, and he was going to explain who, I said, I know Jennifer.
Yeah.
I remember. Of course.
Yeah. And
Of
so,
course. I remember
man,
NASA. I remember.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty
I
good.
remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah, it's a pleasant surprise.
This is just awesome. Like, I didn't know your mom, your grandma, but his mom passed, and I was in Florida, I think.
Yeah.
Because I relocated temporarily. I went to film school, didn't finish, ran out of money.
Oh.
I stayed there long enough to get what I
Get
needed
what
to
you
get.
need,
And
yes.
that's why, like I told him, I have some projects that
Okay.
we've been talking about. So try to get this food truck and that's the one I'm trying to get at first.
Nice.
So your dad and I, have a shared project that we're going to do follow up. That's why I'm trying to get this done set myself up so that, validated, credentialed that, what has she done? You go ask for $1 million or whatever. Well, what is she going to do? We might have to get someone else to do it. So I had to get my foot in the door and get that established. But we have an electric car movie.
Oh, okay.
And that's...
I've driven some electric cars in
I have
Amsterdam.
I have too, and this is a comedy too, because and it's a time-sensitive project. That's why I'm really trying to get with it and get on it. And I can absolutely let you see it. Of course, Dad, I got to get your permission.
Yes, you'll be glad.
Even though I know this is family.
Yes,
And this is something I'm 100% only collaborating with him, unless he ends up having to bring in invest in his blow up by the
Uh-oh.
But it's a comedy, and what we're doing is taking people. There's a scare tactic that people like. I don't want to go to the car drive me nowhere. That kind of thing.
Oh, you mean one of those where that it drives itself?
Well, it's both. It's a mixture of both.
I was gonna say, I
it's
don't
a
know
mixture.
that I'll be sitting in one way.
It's a mixture of both.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying it's gonna be a budget.
All right.
It's a real budget.
All right. Okay.
So we're working. Let's get started up because I don't want to run out of time. I need to plug this up.